Could AI wipe out a fifth of currently traded public market companies? One prominent investor thinks that's exactly the potential risk here. Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief Headlines Edition, all the daily AI news you need in around 5 minutes. We kick off today with a big pronouncement from the CIO of Allianz Global Investors, who believes that AI could usher in a period of digital Darwinism. Speaking at the Bloomberg Investment Management Summit in London, Virginie Maisonneuve warned that this decade is going to be very, very brutal for public companies that fail to adapt. She said, AI is both a threat and a huge opportunity. It's very hard to make a forecast, but 15 to 20% of companies listed today could not be here in 5 years' time. Now, it is worth noting that that isn't actually wildly above the norm for the mortality rate of publicly listed companies, but you get the sense certainly that she is talking about major, well-known companies rather than the normal attrition of smaller, forgettable firms. And frankly, her comments are more useful as a check-in and where we are in the AI adoption narrative. I.e., although some headlines are still blaring that AI has questionable return on investment based on even more questionable studies, professional investors like this at the very top of their industry now see AI adoption as a key marker of a firm's ability to survive the decade. To take just one example, Bloomberg also published a piece this week called The AI Threat to Europe's Most Valuable Software Company. The article is about SAP and its challenges to adapt to changing technology paradigms. The gist of it is that while it has finally made a successful transition to cloud, after years of struggling with that, the company's growth in the cloud area is expected to diminish significantly after 2027, meaning that it's going to have to transition to new types of products like AI products to maintain its current trajectory. And it's pretty clear that the CIO is again not talking about the normal base churn of low to mid-cap companies, but about these sort of more dramatic changes. Although speaking of SAP, OpenAI is partnering with SAP to build sovereign AI for Germany. The initiative will see OpenAI deploy their technology on SAP servers that are physically located in Germany. OpenAI wrote, "The collaboration will enable millions of public sector employees to use AI safely and responsibly while meeting strict data sovereignty, security, and legal standards. The infrastructure will use Microsoft's Azure hardware but will be set up to fit the requirements of the German government." OpenAI also said that the project would serve as a cornerstone for, quote, "developing customized public sector applications and integrating AI agents directly into existing workflows to automate and improve processes such as records management and administrative data analysis." Now, speaking of questions of sovereign AI and global AI leadership, global AI governance was up for debate at this week's meeting of the United Nations. The session opened on Wednesday with Secretary General Antonio Guterres saying, "The question is not whether AI will influence international peace and security, but how we will shape its influence used responsibly. AI can strengthen prevention and protection, anticipating food insecurity and displacement, supporting demining, helping identify potential outbreaks of violence, and so much more. But without guardrails, it can also be weaponized." Now, heading into this meeting, a group of about 200 public figures, including former world leaders and Nobel Prize laureates, had called for binding international red lines, proposing an international agreement defining what AI should never be allowed to do. To me, the response to this letter signified just how much this group is frankly talking to themselves right now. Now, part of that is AI specific. I think that basically all of these open letters and calls for pauses have done nothing but actually diminish the voice of those people who are calling for better guardrails around AI. But of course, this is also caught up in broader shifts in international politics and US leadership as well. Speaking of which, White House Office of Science and Technology Director Michael Kratsios dismissed the notion that the UN should play any role in governing AI out of hand. He said in incredibly clear terms, "We totally reject all efforts by international bodies to assert centralized control and global governance of AI. We believe that the responsible diffusion of AI will help pave the way to a flourishing future, one of increased productivity, empowered individuals, and revolutions in scientific advancement. The path to this world is not found in bureaucratic management, but in the freedom and duty of citizens, the prudence and cooperation of statesmen, and the independence and sovereignty of nations. We believe broad overregulation incentivizes centralization, stifles innovation, and increases the danger that these tools will be used for tyranny and conquest. Ideological fixations on social equity, climate catastrophism, and so-called existential risk are dangers to progress and obstacles to responsibly harnessing this technology as an extension of human ingenuity and capacities." Could not be clearer that, like basically everything else when it comes to the UN and global governance, the current US administration is completely uninterested in any sort of actual cooperation with those groups. Now, as we've talked about, in the absence of government-level regulation, the private sector has been exploring its own ways to deal with some of the issues that come with AI. On that note, Cloudflare has introduced a new addition to robots.txt to limit AI crawlers. Of course, as you've heard, over recent months, Cloudflare have been raising the alarm about what they perceive as the problem of AI driving down traffic to websites. They've made some big proposals like a new fee market to charge AI crawlers to scrape websites. They've also taken some aggressive high-profile moves like blocking crawlers without customer approval and calling out Perplexity specifically as a bad actor. Now, their latest proposal goes back to basics with a new addition to robots.txt, which is a file on every website that tells crawlers whether or not they're allowed to scrape data. They're calling their change the Cloudflare content signals policy. The default format for robots.txt doesn't differentiate between different types of crawlers. Cloudflare then has now proposed 3 categories: search, AI inputs, and AI training, which can each be toggled independently. In explaining the logic behind the traffic, Cloudflare noted that they expect bot traffic on the internet to exceed human traffic by 2029. And by 2031, they expect that bot traffic will surpass the current level of human traffic. The rise is entirely due to AI search engines who tap website data but don't drive any human traffic or produce ad revenue. Cloudflare writes, "The de facto default of the internet permitted this. The norm has been that your data would be ingested, but then you, the creator of that content, would get something in return, either referral traffic that you could monetize, or at a minimum, some sort of attribution that cited you as the author." They continued writing, "That world has changed. That scraped content is now sometimes used to economically compete against the original creator. It's left many with an impossible choice. Do you lock down access to your content and data, or accept the reality of fewer referrals and minimal attribution? If the only recourse is the former, the open transmission of ideas on the web is harmed, and newer entrants to the AI ecosystem are put at an unfair disadvantage for their efforts to train new models." Now, many outlets recognize that this change is fairly squarely aimed at taking on Google. While the changing nature of internet traffic is broadly due to the rise of AI search, Google's AI overviews have, of course, been singled out as a major culprit. Earlier this month, the publisher of Rolling Stone, among other magazines, sued Google over AI overviews, with the core of their claim being that Google provided no way for websites to agree to allow search indexing without also agreeing to their data being used in AI overviews. Exactly the sort of differentiation that Cloudflare is trying to provide with this new toggle. Now, on the one hand, this is a real debate, but on the other, not everyone is super happy with Cloudflare appointing themselves as the guardian of this particular issue. Jeff Jarvis, for example, wrote, "Who died and made Cloudflare cop of AI?" Now, one more very cool one from Google, regardless of your stance on AI overviews. Google has plugged their massive trove of publicly available data into the AI world using MCP. Back in 2018, Google launched a project called the Data Commons with the goal of collating all the publicly available data in the world. The archive includes government surveys, local administrative data, and statistics from global bodies like the UN. However, the dataset was sprawling, making it difficult to query unless you knew exactly what you were looking for. Google figured that this was a perfect problem to solve with AI, writing, "The release marks a major milestone in making all of Data Commons' vast and interconnected public datasets instantly accessible and actionable for AI developers, data scientists, and organizations worldwide." This is the type of very cool use case that standard infrastructure can enable, and so I will be excited to see what developers do with this new trove of information that they now have easier access to. For now, though, that is going to do it for today's AI Daily Brief Headlines Edition. Next up, the main episode.